right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thanks a lot, Josh, and thank you for tuning into the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Rich Walsh, I'll be joined by Chris Mueller in a matter of moments at the 93.7 The Fan Cam with a nice shirt on. It's Logo Thursday, and I can't really see that. Is that Fox Chapel? Or is this your trick?
No.
Is that a crab?
Rich,
you've got a good one here tonight. I can't tell what that is.
Yeah. Rich,
Stump me.
it is a small mine cart. Why? Because it is from the brand spanking new Pinehurst number 10, which I played last summer.
Wow.
In the sand mines. They have Pinehurst number 11 coming up. It is a brute of a course, but it's awesome. So I thought I'd really get Logo Thursdays here, Rich. Started off with a bang with Pinehurst number 10.
Well, that's a great one. I've never played any of the Pinehurst. I want to get down there at some point and play number
Rich,
2.
You must.
I always pass it going to Myrtle Beach. I'm a Myrtle Beach guy. I like playing there. But, yeah, I got to put that on my bucket list to go play Pinehurst number 2 and number 10 now. Isn't there what's the one out in Philadelphia that's it has like a mine cart logo? It'll come to me.
You might have stumped me.
It's
You're not talking about Pine Valley, are you?
No. I know Pine Valley.
Valley is obviously very famous.
It's I'll figure it out here by the end of the show. It's something club, but I forget what it is.
It's Logo Thursdays,
yes,
baby.
You got me. Good one. Pinehurst number 10 we got. All right. It's also Penguins win Thursday. They needed a shootout to get it, but these are 2 very important points, and they got 10 games left, and they need to get as many points as possible because if you look at those standings, Chris. I mean, now they're in second place. Columbus lost tonight. They're a point back. The Islanders are in that second wild card spot, a point back. But Ottawa only a couple points back, and they're out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, this was, I thought, one of the more entertaining games of the year. It's probably a lot easier to say that about games happening late in the season when we know they mean more. But what a back-and-forth affair. Huge win for them. They get another shootout win, 2 in a row, call it a win streak in what has been their downfall most of the year. I also thought, Rich, this was just a phenomenally entertaining game. You could call out the list of superlatives and guys who did great jobs in this game and go for a while. Ben Kindle getting the shootout winner, Ben Kindle having to play more minutes. They all kind of bucked up when Sidney Crosby couldn't go after one shift in the second. Erik Karlsson's doing a Bobby Orr impersonation most days now. And they just kind of got one of those gritty, tough efforts. Stuart Skinner was really good. They got one of those gritty, tough, relentless efforts where they kept getting faced with challenges and they kept beating back the challenges that have kind of been the hallmark of Dan Muse's first season on the job. I actually thought the turning point in the game was, and I know they didn't win it in regulation like everyone would have preferred, Muse challenges, I think understandably, given the way that the challenge against the Winnipeg Jets against Colorado went against the Penguins on Brazeau's non-goal. He challenges the goal to make it 3-3. They uphold the goal, the call on the ice, which is stupid. If you're gonna wave off Brazeau's, it's basically the same play, actually less egregious or more egregious, however you want to term it. Ottawa gets the goal. They get the power play, the Penguins kill it, and then we play it right to a 3-3 tie. I mean, I just thought they showed a lot of guts and a lot of heart when they absolutely had to.
Yeah, and Skinner was really good in overtime. They could have lost in overtime, but they also could have won. They had a couple opportunities
Tommy Novak couldn't elevate the puck 1 inch, but he was also, I think so tired he was ready to fall over.
I think he was on the ice for a minute and a half there. So, yeah, that's going to be tough. I can't fault him for that one. But before we get to maybe the biggest story of the day, I was thinking of the Manufacturers Club. I think it's out in Montgomery County. It's a pretty cool
That was
club.
going to be my guess, actually. That was, believe it or not, going to be my guess, Rich, because I've heard of it. Yes.
All right. So the Pirates lose. A terrible outing by O'Neal Cruz. I mean, he was the least MVP of this game, the LVP or whatever you want to call him. Paul Skeens obviously not great. He gives up a couple hits, walks a batter, gets the bases loaded, and O'Neal Cruz goes from there. I mean, look, I had a viewer rip on me because I said O'Neal Cruz didn't hustle back to the ball. And I thought he gave a lazy effort, I think, tracking it down. Obviously, he took a step in first, and you're a center fielder. Sometimes that's your reaction to do that. I'm not going to fault him for that, but he's got to hustle to try to get back. He just took a wrong angle at the ball and looked so lackadaisical out there, too. And then he was one of the few guys on the field that didn't wear sunglasses. Obviously, they needed it today. And then he cost the Pirates 4 runs, and I really think that blew it because that cut Skeens' outing short, right? He had to use all these pitchers. They're not as good as him. If he can get out of that inning, if he makes both of those catches, it's 2-1. I think it's a different ballgame.
Well, I think it's probably 2-2 because if he catches the line drive, I still think they're going to score a guy on a sac
you're right.
fly.
Yes.
And then you get out of the inning if he catches the routine ball after that, and you're done, and it's 2-2. Skeens wasn't good, but I'm not going to kill him for being lazy. I think that when you're at a game, you can tell how far over the head of these guys the ball actually is, when on TV it might look like, oh, if he had taken 2 more steps, he might have been able to leap and catch it. But that's not a defense of him. He violated the cardinal rule of playing outfield. I didn't really play outfield past like age 13 or 14, Rich.
Yeah.
Your first step is always back. Always.
Should always be back.
Because then you can come in and the ball doesn't go over your head that way. It was just terrible. He's not a center fielder. I think that's pretty clear. He didn't want to play there, but his problem is he's not a shortstop either. He's probably a right fielder or a DH. Here's the other issue, Rich. They've tried to make the whole thing out of right fielders and DHs. They don't have anywhere else to put them.
Yeah, and that leads us to our Penn West University question. I just scanned that QR code on your right-hand corner of your screen. Would you keep O'Neal Cruz in center field? I don't think you have any other options. You're not going to put him at shortstop. But, hey, if you call Connor Griffin up, I don't know. He's a shortstop and a center fielder. Maybe he can play center. No. You put Connor Griffin at shortstop because that's where he's got the highest value. I mean, you don't have any options. You have to hope that O'Neal Cruz played his worst game in center field of the year in Game 1 of the season. And that, the other thing is you don't assume you're going to have to deal with this kind of stuff when Skeens is pitching. That is like the small, 95% of this is O'Neal Cruz. 5% of it is Paul Skeens was not sharp, couldn't find the strike zone, couldn't make people miss when he needed to. You do expect more out of probably the best pitcher we've seen in 50, 60 years. But the longer you keep him in there, the better he is, I think, maybe. That's why I think they could potentially have won this game. He wouldn't have got lit up like some of the other pitchers did.
I think that's I thought they did a good job on the broadcast of kind of articulating why you would take a guy out after 1 inning or not even 2/3 of an inning in his case. He was almost at 40 pitches within a single inning with no rest. I think that's when they start to point to injuries. So I think it was an understandable and completely fine move by Kelly to remove him when he did.
I was saying a hypothetical situation that O'Neal Cruz makes both those catches.
Yeah, if he catches those balls, then I think you have a chance to get him in, get him to 4 innings even, and then shorten the game that much, and who knows what happens. But Cruz makes 2 horrible misplays, and it defines their first game.
And neither ruled an error, by the way. Both ruled hits.
Because he didn't get a glove on the ball.
Yeah.
Rich, come on. We all know this. That's the Citi Field score. They're going to give their guy a bases-clearing triple. Just like if it were in Pittsburgh, I feel like you would have the same thing if the shoe was on the other foot in a Pirates. You know what I mean?
Well, the second one should definitely be an error. I understand about not getting but it was an easy pop-up that you and I both could have made.
But it's still a judgment call by the scorer. And in my experience watching baseball, they never call those errors when a guy loses the ball in the sun.
All right. Well, we got to take a break. Coming back with your phone calls and questions coming up next. Stay right there. All right, welcome back. This is our Xfinity tweet of the night. This is from Yahoo Sports. Both Logan Webb and Paul Skeens lost their opening day starts. World Baseball Classic hangover for Team USA starting pitchers. You can see the stats there. I don't know if I buy into Chris, these guys are both ready. They're tuned up. I feel like Paul Skeens should have been lights out today.
I just think he wasn't good. I mean, and I think that when you're not good in a given game, and he's had games where he's not sharp. Yeah. He's looked mortal for as insane as his first 2 years have been. He's absolutely looked mortal. The Brewers have touched him up on multiple occasions. Usually you'd say, okay, he gives up 2 runs in the first in a normal setting. Not good, but hey, you get out of it and you press on and you hope you get 4 more innings out of him with no more damage done. But that's what makes those Cruz plays and misplays, I should say, so killer. It takes what could have been a bad first inning for Skeens and turns it into a complete disaster, puts them totally behind the 8 ball. And even though I think that they deserve a little credit, mainly Brandon Lau and Ryan O'Hearn, for trying to hit their way back into this thing, you just are not going to beat a team like the Mets when you spot them easy runs and extra outs that early in a ball game.
Definitely two of the bright spots. If you can take anything from this game is Brandon Lyle and Ryan O'Hearn. There's no question about it. All right, we got to get to the phone lines. Let's go out to Scott in Lebanon County. How you doing, Scott?
Hi, I'm doing good. Thanks for taking my call, Richie. You know, I was totally shocked by Paul Skeens being pulled after less than 30-some pitches. Now, some folks can blame Cruz for not wearing sunglasses and say that the defense struggled. Others say that may have been Skeens having some fatigue from the WBC, the World Baseball Classic. Others may say that the pitching was no good. I'm not sure if you guys agree, but I think it was all the above.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, O'Neal Cruz is number one to blame here. And I'm not blaming him for not wearing sunglasses. You want to feel comfortable out there, Chris. But if you can't see the ball, you have to do something. Maybe the flip glasses. I mean, I'm sure you had eye black on. I don't know. I mean, a major league center fielder doesn't miss those 2 balls.
I'm trying to think just back to O'Neal Cruz in recent years and whether he's worn them in the past. And I guess now that I'm thinking about it, I've always seen him just out there regular, no sunglasses, but you would think that maybe, just maybe, he's going to reconsider that in the future, at least the flip ones. I don't know, man. The thing that gets me is, you know, everyone cites the sunglasses because, oh, look, he didn't do that. That's so careless. He was supposed to be working with Kevin Kiermaier all offseason. Everything I've heard about O'Neal Cruz is how focused and how locked in he was on all the fundamentals. Hey, he hired a left-handed batting practice pitcher, all this stuff. And I don't know, you can have a bad game, sure, but, man, it doesn't look like all the postseason or the offseason narratives look that accurate when game 1 of the season you're making killer mistakes out there that you'd be mad at a high school player for making.
Yeah, your most athletic guy. That's why I like the move to center field should be the center fielder. But also one of your best defensive players, which he is not, and he's shown that at shortstop and in center field. So definitely not a good performance for O'Neal Cruz out there tonight. Let's go out to Joe in Verona. How you doing, Joe?
How you doing? You know, Cruz he tires me. He tired me last year. He batted 200 to have him leading off. He got 2 things going. He's a power hitter, and he can run. That's a 2-tool player. He can't hit for average. He can't field. We can see that. And he has an arm, but he doesn't know where it goes. It's just his attitude always looks like he don't care. I don't know. It's just to me, it's just a jinx here. We had Batista 10 years ago. He leaves here and becomes a ball player. Maybe get rid of this guy. And you know, I'm just tired. I'm tired of Cruz, and he's going to kill.
Aren't you worried that if they get rid of him, somebody will have the light bulb go on for him, and he'll be great elsewhere? He does have a good arm, and I thought he made right before these horrible plays, I actually thought he made a pretty terrific throw that came within about an inch of gunning somebody down at third. But he's right to say that, like, it's one thing to be a great athlete. It's another thing to actually be a true 5-tool player, and he's not. He's an athlete still masquerading as a complete baseball player, and that's also a failure of the Pirates. Like, I know that the players should bear most of the blame for their own lack of development, and I would always put the player first, no matter who the player is in one of these situations, Rich, but it's just so clear that this organization struggles to take these 50-50 guys who have all the talent but really need the coaching. It's very clear that they don't seemingly get the better side of that more often than not.
You know, strikes a lot for my taste to be in the leadoff spot, but I guess that's the best spot for him right now. I just thought, I'm not giving up on him yet. They got some hitters around him. I think he'll bat better than 200. I don't know if, you know, I would hope he'd be a 250, 260 hitter, but you know, that's even questionable right now. Let's go out to Jim in Latrobe. How you doing, Jim?
Hey, gentlemen. Now that the Pirate season is, for all intents and purposes, over, and
it's not over. Come on, it's one game. They got 161 more.
They won't win 60 games. Can we just go ahead and either DFA Cruz and go ahead and trade schemes like?
All right, Jim, you're the pessimist. They can't do any of those things, and they're not going to do any of those things. I mean, Skeens is going to bounce back, I would imagine, right? Look what he's done the last couple years. He's proven so. O'Neal Cruz, yes, we know this about him as a player, so you have to accept it. If he's going to be on your team and you're rooting for him, you know he's going to make a lot of mistakes and dumb things are going to happen out there, and we saw that today.
You don't have to, hold on, you don't have to accept that. You're allowed to demand better from a player who's closer to 30 than he is 20. It's not like he's like a 19
But what do you do
or
with him? You can't
20-year-old.
trade him. What are you going to get for him? I mean,
No, I mean, you eventually bench him if this kind of stuff continues and try to send a message to him. But, yeah, I mean, they've pinned a ton of hopes on him. I think he was, in many ways, their most pivotal player heading into this year as far as a guy who could go either way, good or bad. And we got off to a bad start. But I'm really inspired by Jim. Let me give my continuation of Jim's
go
take.
ahead.
They should DFA Cruz. They should trade Skeens. As a matter of fact, I think they should break their lease with the city and move to Nashville. Maybe we'll get a professional bocce team to come to Pittsburgh.
Maybe the NBA will come to
Ho
Pittsburgh. No, I mean, look, I still think this is an 80-plus win team. You know, I thought they would be around 85 wins. I was optimistic. And we saw the bats today, and I think that's something you have to be encouraged about. This is one game. Let's see how they bounce back on Saturday.
I mean, if you would have told me it's a game Skeens is starting and Brandon Lau hits 2 home runs and Ryan O'Hearn hits a home run,
Yeah.
I'd say, they probably won that game,
yeah.
didn't they?
Right.
No, not so much. Oh, they scored 7 runs in a Paul Skeens start? Easy win, right? Whoops.
You can't do anything else with Cruz because you can't make him a DH. Then what you do with Ozuno, I don't know. I mean, he's your center fielder.
That's what I said, Rich.
Yeah.
They made the whole team out of right fielders and DHs. Brian Reynolds can't even play left field. He's going to end up misplaying balls this year, too.
Yeah.
The only excuse he has is he's not very athletic.
All right, we got to take a break. Back in a couple minutes. All right, welcome back. Joined by Chris Mueller here today. All right, the Pens are in second place in the Metro right now. You know, they're a couple points out from not being in the playoff contention. They got a gauntlet of games, Dallas Islanders and Detroit, 10 games left. Do they make the playoffs as we stand here, right here with 10 games left?
Yeah, I think they're going to, because once they get through the couple of games you just mentioned, really those 4, then their schedule does lighten once they get into April. Just two things. Josh Yohe mentioned that it looked like Crosby not in extreme discomfort, in Josh's words, walking around in a suit after the game. Erik Karlsson in March, 14 games, 8 goals, 13 assists, 21 points. That's like MVP level stuff from your best defenseman.
That's why they traded for him, and he was a big reason they won here tonight along with Ricardo Raquel. All right, thanks a lot, Chris. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Hopefully we see you on KDK News much later tonight after NCAA basketball.